For those who don't know about Swami Vivekananda, he lived between 1863 and 1902. He was a self-realized yogi, monk, and one of the most inspirational spiritual leaders of India. His guru, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, said, "A man controlling the seminal fluid for 12 years develops a special power. He grows a new inner nerve called the nerve of memory. Through that nerve he remembers all, and he understands all." A disciple of Swami Vivekananda shares a wonderful experience he had with him. A few days ago a new set of the Encyclopaedia Britannica had been bought for the Belur Mad is the name of the monastery. Mad means institute or monastery in Sanskrit. Belur is the headquarters of the Ramakrishna Math and Mission. Founded by Swami Vivekananda, he was the chief disciple of the great Guru Sri Ramakrishna. Seeing the new shining volumes, the disciple said to Swamiji, "It is almost impossible to read all these books in a single lifetime." He was unaware that Swamiji had already finished 10 volumes and had begun the 11th. Swamiji said, "What do you say? Ask me anything you like from these 10 volumes, and I will answer you all." The disciple asked in wonder, "Have you read all these books?" "Why should I ask you to question me otherwise?" Being examined, Swamiji not only reproduced the correct answers, but at places the very language of the difficult topics selected from each volume. The disciple, astonished, put aside the books, saying, "This is not within human power." Do you see? Simply by the observance of strict brahmacharya, means continence, all learning can be mastered in a very short time. One has an unfailing memory of what one hears or knows but once. It is owing to this want of continence that everything is on the brink of ruin in our country. Once a disciple of Swami Vivekananda asked him about the secret power behind the incredible success of his world-famous Chicago speech. Swamiji replied, "You don't know. That power may come to all. That power comes to him who observes unbroken brahmacharya for a period of 12 years with the sole object of realizing God. Chastity in thought, word, and deed, always and in all conditions, is what is called brahmacharya. I have practiced that kind of brahmacharya myself, and so a screen has been removed, as it were, from my brain. For that reason, I need not any more think over or prepare myself for any lectures on such a subtle object as philosophy. Suppose I have to lecture tomorrow. All that I shall speak about will pass tonight before my eyes like so many pictures. And the next day I put into verse during my lecture all those things that I saw. So you will understand now that it is not any power which is exclusively my own. Whoever will practice unbroken brahmacharya for 12 years will surely have it. If you do so, you too will get it. Our Shastras do not say that only such and such a person will get it and not others. In my first speech in Chicago, I addressed that audience as sisters and brothers of America. And you know that they all rose to their feet. You may wonder what made them do this. You may wonder if I had some strange power. Let me tell you that I didn't have a power, and this is it. Never once in my life did I allow myself to have even one sexual thought. I trained my mind, my thinking, and the powers that man usually uses along the line of sexual enjoyment, I put into a higher channel. and it developed a force so strong that nothing could resist it. By the practice of strict brahmacharya, one can channelize the downward flow of sexual energy into the brain, so that it is stored in the brain as ojas, or powerful spiritual energy. The great sexual force raised from animal action and sent upward to the great dynamo of the human system, the brain, and there stored up becomes ojas, or spiritual force. All good thoughts, all prayer resolves a part of that animal energy into ojas and helps to give us spiritual power. This ojas is the real man, and in human beings alone is it possible for this storage of ojas to be accomplished. The ojas is that which makes the difference between man and man. The man who has much ojas is the leader of man. It gives a tremendous power of attraction. One in whom the whole animal sex force has been transformed into ojas is a god. He speaks with power, and his words regenerate the world. The chaste brain has tremendous energy and gigantic willpower. Without chastity, there can be no spiritual strength. Continence gives wonderful control over mankind. It is only the chaste man or woman who can make the ojas rise and store it in the brain. That is why chastity has always been considered as the highest virtue. The spiritual leaders of man have been very continent, and this is what gave them power. Therefore, the yogi must be continent. Brahmacharya should be like a burning fire within the veins. Ojas is manufactured from the nerve currents. It is most easily made from that force which manifests itself in the sexual powers. If the powers of the sexual centers are not frittered away and their energies wasted, they can be manufactured into ojas. That part of the human energy which is expressed as sex energy in sexual thought, when checked and controlled, easily can be changed into ojas. Muladhara, which is an energy center at the root of the spinal column, guides sexual energy. The yogi pays particular attention to that center. He tries to take up all his sexual energy and convert it into ojas. Controlled desire leads to the highest result. Transform the sexual energy into spiritual energy, but do not emasculate, because that is throwing away the power. No force can be created. It can only be directed. Therefore, we must learn to control the grand powers that are already in our hands, and by willpower we make them spiritual instead of merely animal. The stronger this force, the more can be done with it. Only a powerful current of water can do hydraulic mining. Thus, it is clearly seen that chastity is the cornerstone of all morality and of all religion. In Raja Yoga especially, absolute chastity in thought, word, and deed is a thing that is absolutely necessary. The same laws apply to the married and the single. If one wastes the most potent forces of one's being, one cannot become spiritual. All history teaches us that the great seers of all ages were either monks and ascetics, or those who had given up married life. Only the pure in life can see God. In modern era, the circle of vision has become so narrow, so degraded, so beastly, and so animal. None is desiring anything beyond this body. What is the world but a combination of stomach and sex? Look at the millions of men and women. That is what they are living for. Take this away from them, and they will find their life empty, meaningless, and intolerable. Such are we, and such is our mind. It is continually hankering for ways and means to satisfy the hunger of the stomach and sex. All the time this is going on. There is also endless suffering. These desires of the body bring only momentary satisfaction and endless suffering. It is like drinking a cup of which the surface layer is nectar, while underneath is all poison. But we still hanker for all these things. What can be done? Renunciation of the senses and desires, those which produces momentary satisfaction and endless suffering, is the only way out of this misery. If you want to be spiritual, you must renounce. This is the real test. Give up the attachment for impermanent things. Give up this nonsense of the senses. There is only one real desire, to know what is true, to be spiritual. No more materialism, no more egoism. I must become spiritual. Strong, intense must be the desire. If a man's hands and feet were so tight that he couldn't move, and then if a burning piece of charcoal were placed on his body, he would struggle with all his power to throw it off. When I shall have that sort of extreme desire, that restless struggle to throw off this burning world, then the time will have come for me to glimpse the divine truth. Nothing is gained except by sacrifice. The holiest function of our human consciousness, the noblest, do not make it unclean. Do not degrade it to the level of the brutes. Make yourself a decent man. Be chaste and be pure. There is no other way. Did Christ find any other way? If you can conserve and use the energy properly, it leads you to God. Inverted, it is hell itself. It is much easier to do anything upon the external plane, but the greatest conqueror in the world finds himself a mere child when he tries to control his own mind. This is the world he has to conquer, the greater and more difficult world to conquer. Do not despair. Awake, arise, and stop not until the goal is reached.